I'm checking. Remember the last time we were on, I did not stream to everything. So I'm double checking on my laptop to make sure we are streaming live and I see us. So I'm happy about that. And then that way I can see the comments too.
Yes.
All right. And what's today? Tuesday? I feel like it's Thursday.
I know.
Exhausted.
Same. I was just telling you, y'all, before this, I was telling Joyce that I took a nap and I literally just woke up like 10 minutes ago. But I'm fresh, rejuvenated, and ready. Yes.
There you go. You need your power nap.
That's
funny. Yeah. I know. I wish I could get naps, but naps for me do not actually work.
What?
I am more exhausted when I wake up.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what
I heard it depends on what time of day you take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be when I get it.
Right. Yeah.
But I got this toddler around who was
I know
today because he wanted to stop at Walgreens. So he's back there boohoo crying because he wanted to stop at Walgreens. I'm like, boy, we got to get home. Mommy's got to work.
What did he want from Walgreens?
But he liked the little toy set. It's just become a thing. Okay. It's right around the corner. So he's like, it's by our house. I know it's by our house. And we're going to ride right past it because we got to get home. Boohoo crying.
Take him to Walgreens. Take him to Walgreens.
For Walgreens. It used to be Target, now it's Walgreens. Anyway.
Love
okay. So it is Tuesday night. We are on our collaboration over competition virtual chat. I am here with Tierraney and I am excited. We have done this before. This was a while ago though. I think you were my first collaboration over competition guest. So I am excited to have you back. You remember that?
I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, so Joyce, we're making this an annual thing?
This is I'm ready for it. Look, it might be more often because you have kind of changed a little bit since last time. Like your focus is a little bit different.
Yeah.
I think, right? Okay. So your focus is a little bit different. Same kind of idea, same expertise, but your specific focus is a little different. And I've been following you on Twitter because I need that stuff. Like I need to read your tweets because they are also so true, right? They're so true. And teachers right now, schools right now need your work. So I was like, okay, let me get her back on. Especially when I put the topics on, you're like, yep, count me in.
Number 4, I'm in there.
Let me know. So I'm glad to have you here tonight. And let me go ahead and introduce myself first. My name is, if you're on YouTube, you may not know this, but if you're in my group, I've been posting like crazy because I am in like work and elevation mode. And I use that word all the time. It's fine. But I'm in elevation mode. So I have been very busy posting about my upcoming cohort. But I am Joyce Conley. I am the founder of Alve Pro Network. And I started Alve Pro because I have not necessarily told the story. And one day, maybe like in my cohort, because it's very, very, very close to my heart. But I started Alve Pro Network when I had a situation that happened with my family, and I reflected on the impact that being a new assistant principal without support had on my family, on my child. And that's what I'll say for now. But I realized that the new assistant principal was not receiving the support that we needed. And at that time, I was putting in all this time, literally time and effort into a school, into the work. And I was just like trying to figure it all out, trying to build the boat while it was sailing. Like I was trying to figure it all out by myself. And I did not have the support. I did not have the coaching, the mentoring. I had a principal who was doing her principal duties. So she would expect me to have things ready. And I didn't know what those things were.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, hey, where's the, and I'm like, what do you mean so I'm like, all right, I've got to do something to where I can support and at least develop the aspiring assistant principal to be more prepared.
Yep.
But also help to make them feel and know that there's help out there. So you may not have it in your school building, but there are people like me who can help you. And over these last 6 years, I have learned so much. And honestly, I like to think like I'm pretty dope as an assistant principal. I've been at 3 schools now, and every school has been different. And I love challenges, and I love building up the new assistant principal. So I get calls from new APs, and it's like, hey, I'm listening. What do you think about this? Try this. Keep your head up because the game is hard. But I'm here to support you. So I have a Facebook group with a bunch of us in there, aspiring, current, moved on to principalship. And it's been fantastic learning from one another. And that's how we met.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Joyce's group. And that's literally, I was thinking like before this, I was like, how did I connect with Joyce? And I'm like, I think it's literally because I joined your group. Then you posted about, you're doing your live series and I volunteered as tribute. And then I think that's literally how we connected.
It is.
And Joyce is very good with like staying in touch with folks. I'm not good with that. But immediately, like after our first live, I remember Joyce was like, okay, let's exchange numbers. And literally I'll just send her text sometimes. She'll send me text. And so like she's so good with building like community and fostering strong relationships. That's like truly one of her like areas of expertise for sure. And so I'm so excited that we've been able to stay in contact. As far as like me, if y'all didn't watch the first live,
probably because I messed up streaming it. That's fine. That was my first one.
She only didn't stream it to like, I think one platform, and then we streamed a little bit late, but that's okay. So anywho, Joyce mentioned that, I changed a little bit as far as like what my focus is. And to be honest, when I first came to talk with y'all last year in collaboration with Joyce, my focus was all on classroom management and culture. I'm very good with being able to help teachers build a strong, solid classroom management foundation in their rooms so that they have a learning environment that actually can support student academic success, right? And so that has been like my focus area for the longest time. And I have specifically specialized in helping teachers who are in elementary or middle schools and serving in Title I campuses, because that's always where my experience has been, whether I was a teacher or even now having moved into leadership. And so now I am still doing that, right? Still doing that. That's my focus. I'm sure you probably have one of your teachers following me on TikTok right now, because that's where my true group is. However, in addition to that, I have been able to really step into what is like my heart's passion because of like my own trauma that I went through. Like Joyce was talking about, like she's not going to dive too deep into some of the things that like led her to what she's doing right now. But as for me, like that was my biggest thing. I have unfortunately worked in several schools where the culture was not healthy for me. Yeah. It was not healthy for me. It wasn't healthy for my colleagues. And so when you think about it, classroom management and culture obviously is a branch of the larger culture, which is of the school. That's ultimately set by who? The leadership team, the head honchos in charge, right? We're the ones who create the culture of our schools. And so now I've added on this element where I'm really able to do my heart's passion in addition to the classroom management work, which is helping school leaders. And I specifically specialize in helping school leaders create school-wide culture, systems, and routines. And I think that's super critical for one, sustainability, but also when we're talking about building a healthy school culture, it's not done in a silo. It's done by creating intentional systems and routines that allow multiple stakeholders to be a part of that. So that's what I get to do now. And so I'm excited to even talk more about it tonight.
Awesome. And you know what? My memory is coming back. And I remember when we got off the call, we were talking about how we can get into schools.
Okay.
Because that time it was like, all right, we're thinking about the individual, but we really want to be into the schools, like really making that larger impact. And you're doing it. Yeah. So I don't know how long ago that was, but I remember we had that conversation because it was like, all right, yes, but like we're looking like way, like how can we impact schools and how can we impact like districts? Yeah. And so now this is where we are. It's like, all right, we have our people, but now we want to also impact teams.
Exactly.
And entire schools. And I think of you all the time at my new schools specifically because we're not Title I, but we're very, very close. So we have Title I needs. Right. And we had a lot of teachers this year. And if you could tell me how many new teachers we had, Delgado, that would be great. Cause I think it was like 14 brand new teachers, something like that within their first few years. Yeah. And so having a school that has so many new teachers, it's very, very challenging to, honestly, is to retain them. Because if you don't have the things I know you're going to talk about tonight, if you don't have those things in place, they're just going to get burnt out really fast. Or they're just going to leave and they're going to say, you know what, this is not for me. And we don't want that. Yep. We have I've like, oh my gosh, how many vacancies do we have right now? I mean, it's ridiculous. I want to say like 10, almost 8. Maybe something It's bad. Like
And
I'm trying not to
to
focus
feel
on that.
those.
And then it's like, where are they coming from? But anyway, I'm not going to focus on it.
Yeah.
But we have way too many teachers leaving the profession. And I know it's a matter of what do we do to cultivate that school culture from the beginning, like before August, right?
Yeah.
Like we can start that over the summer. There are things I know we can do over the summer. Yep. So we're constantly spinning our wheels over at my school. Like, okay, what are we doing next year? What are we going to do next year better? All right. So you said 18 new staff, 14 new to teaching or the district.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know. That's a lot. Right?
Yes.
That's a lot. And I mean, our staff is only like 50.
Okay. And remind me, Joyce, it's an elementary campus, right?
Elementary, yep. So we are VE pre-K to 8K. I mean, pre-K to 5.
Got you.
So, yeah. But anyway, all right. So let's get to it. And if you're here, you know, I like the collaboration. So she and I are collaborating, but I want you guys to collaborate with us in the chat. So whether you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook, if you could just let us know who you are, because on StreamYard, Tierraney probably won't see your name if you're looking at StreamYard. Nope. If you could say your name, and then I'll try to, you know, be better at putting up the comments, your name, your position, and where you're from. I love to see, you know me, I love to see where people are coming from. So where are you? Because I'm in Florida, and where are you, Tierraney?
Texas,
baby. So even that connection, I think two of the consultants that I've like connected with the most are both from Texas. I think I should make a visit, guys.
Yes.
Right, okay, so tell us who you are, what's your position, and where you are watching us from. In the comments. All right, so let's get to it. So I just mentioned that most of you know that I was moved in January. And it was a good move for me. Like, I'm grateful for this move because I get kind of like, I don't like to use the word complacent because that seems like I'm not doing my work. But I like change, right? And I like a challenge. Okay. And where I was, I feel like I did what I needed to do and I needed a challenge. So when I got the call, when was that? Like right before the winter break, I got the call on a Friday to come in on Monday, something like that. And I got the email to come in on Monday. I'm like, okay, I know something's happening. What's going on? And then they told me where I was going. I'm like, okay, I know a little bit about it. It's not too far. But then I got there to make a little visit and I was like, ooh, this is going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work. But it has been a blessing. So with that, my first question, and I took this off of, because you had the bright idea of looking at like what other leaders are really questioning and wondering about around school culture, building that positive school culture. Yeah. So we're going to take this like two ways, like the now, and then really I said lessons learned, because we just went through a whole pandemic. Yeah. And things may or may not be different or the same or different, right? So we can kind of have that dialogue as well. Like what impact did the pandemic have on creating, like leaders creating that positive school culture, or was there like, no difference? So just thinking about that. Okay, hold on. Let me get some people in here. Comments. I got a bunch. See, hold on a second. Ooh. So someone's talking about how interesting this is. Consultant. Yeah, because she's good at what she does. We've got Cynthia here Cynthia. She's an aspiring AP in Florida. Yay. Hi, Cynthia. I'm excited to get to know you further in my cohort. All right, cool. And then we've got, I'm trying to look at the names on Facebook, but I've got someone here from, it's Bridget. Hey, Bridget. Bridget from Charleston, South Carolina. Bridget is the bomb. I love her so much. She and I met at SFE Live. So she's awesome. So she's a consultant as well.
The user that was in Florida, are you still doing your in-person events? Your meetups?
So I haven't done one in a while.
But the last one was at Top Golf, right?
Yes, we did at Top Golf. And then some of my friends were like, Joyce, you need to do one. If you're not going to do one, we're at least going to get together. So I'm like, okay, I know you're right. We need to do one. But we did do a live event at Top Golf, which was really fun. So yes, I need to get back into it. Hopefully summertime gives me a little bit of a downtime. But look, I'm going to roll with this cohort and some school stuff this summer. So I'm rolling with it. So this one, Sally, I see Sally. She lives in Florida and think Texas is perhaps the only state that may be worse.
LOL is all I'm gonna say.
Really? I didn't know that.
Texas has some problem. I mean, we equally have problems. Let me just put it that way. We need a lot of help.
Yeah, but she's an AP in Florida too. So awesome. I'm glad to have you guys here. If you are on the replay, do the same thing. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and what you do. All right. So my first question, or our first topic, because honestly, we're just talking.
Right.
Have you ever been in a situation where the school culture is needed, right? Or what advice do you have for someone who walks into a school and it's like, whoa, I need like some shifts to happen here because the morale is low and people are not happy.
Yes.
What advice do you have for that leader?
Boy, have I been there 100%. So, okay, y'all, my life's passion too. And this is why, like I was saying, this focus of me focusing on school-wide culture systems and routines is because I was able to do it, like actually do it at a campus. I remember, so once I stopped teaching, right, got my Texas principal certification and was like, let me get this job in leadership so I can be the change I want to be, create healthy cultures. My first position was as a dean, of culture. Dean of culture was my role. So I'm coming into this school. They never previously even had this role, dean of culture. Okay, so I am the founding dean of culture. So I go there and like, I am just so happy because this was my life's dream to have this role and I have it. It's my dream job. And I am just like, I need to make all the changes. I have to. We're talking about lessons learned so we can keep it real, right, Joyce?
Yep, always.
So one big mistake that I made was I tried to shift things too quick. Now, there's one thing that I remember hearing from one lady who was my principal at one point, but before she was my principal, she actually coached me as a first-year teacher years prior, right? Where she wasn't even a principal yet. And she told me, hey, I came into this campus year one. I saw things that needed to be changed, but I was just observing. After that, after I observed everything, then that's when I started to year two, maybe attempt to make some changes. I came in guns blazing, like literally, like I stepped foot there. I was like, I'm here. I have arrived. Changes are coming. I did that too quickly. Okay. But one thing that I did like, that I actually did as I reflect back is I gave, and Joyce, I believe you have created one of these before. Maybe you can drop it in the chat, but I created this survey form and it allowed me to really conduct like a needs assessment of the campus and the improvements that they needed to make when it came to culture, right? And so y'all, Joyce has shared this form that she has made before that she's given to her staff. So it's definitely in the group, but I'm sure she'll find it and can drop it again. But you can use that, y'all, and use that in order to really get a sense of, yes, you're coming in with your fresh eyes and you might see what needs to be shifted, right? But let's pump the brakes and keep that, internalize that. But also let's get some actual data from the stakeholders of the campus before we implement changes. Yeah. And then before you even implement changes, y'all, what you need to do is once you get that survey data, you really want to look at that and try to formulate what you think might be the next big action step to take. But before even taking that action step, get some feedback from folks, especially the folks you're trying to impact. If you're trying to make things better for teachers, don't make decisions without hearing from the teachers. Like, what are you doing? You know, I can go on my rants on that. I'm a teacher's champion. I know you talk about being AP champion. I love that. Yeah. But I'm a teacher's champion because I've been in the teacher seat way longer than I've been in the leader seat. And again, I only wanted to lead because of the pain that I've been through, right? So with that said, that's what I'm going to share. What are your thoughts on that, Joyce?
Okay, so I have I feel like it depends, right? I've heard people say like, oh, I sat back a whole year and I just watched, and I'm just like, a whole year? I know, you know, right? How much you can do.
It's on fire.
So I get when people say that, but I do think though that it's approach. So putting out those surveys, because people want to know that they're being heard, right? So putting out those surveys, having those conversations, and doing a little bit here and there, like people know, if like, you know me, like I'm not going to sit here and ruffle feathers, but if I see something that needs to be fixed, I'm going to try to fix it. Now, I know there's some things like right now is the end of the year, or even from January on, I'm like, all right, I tried. Okay, here we go. Cafeteria. When I walked into school, I walked in and I'm like, we don't, how am I supposed to know which time the tables get dismissed?
Right.
Like there's no time. Why are the custodians picking up the trash 10 minutes early? Why are the teachers coming in and the kids just get up and run to them? Those type of things,
stop.
I'm not kidding. It's like, oh, I know.
I can't.
It still irks me because I had to pump my brakes because it was a battle I couldn't fight at that moment. I tried.
Yeah.
But when I was doing things and people weren't respecting it, and it was just like, whatever, I'm doing this way because this is how we've always been doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what battle do I fight right now? Is it the cafeteria or is it instruction? What is the battle that I need to fight? But when I say August, there will be some structures in place and it will be no excuses and the expectations are set. It's just like coming in January was very hard, but I tried. And then it was just like, whatever. So I don't feel like you just don't. I feel like you do the approach the best that you can and then kind of like see what happens and then go with that flow. We don't have a school-wide system for behaviors. Like it's just like you get a referral, you go to the dean, we figure it out. You might, you know what I mean? Like there's no consistency. It's I know. This is why we need to talk.
Please help me. I'm screaming.
I know. I'm telling you. This is why I put some of your videos in a presentation that I did for my teacher. I know. Because I'm like, look, at least I can kind of like throw some support in there. But yeah, so I feel like it just depends. But I'm a big believer in listening to people.
Yes.
So if you don't get their feedback, like what are you doing it for? What are you doing it for?
I love that. Listen before you act. That is so good.
Yeah. And observe. I'm observing, but tomorrow, if I see it's broken, I'm going to do my best to try to do something.
Yes.
And I'm big on like, we do this together. So like the leadership team is like, hey, tell me how it's been done. And then what do you think about this? You don't think it's going to work? Well, I think it's going to work. We're going to try it. Or you don't think it's going to work? Why don't you think we're going to work? Okay. You're right. It might not work. Yeah. But anyway, so definitely have been there. I'm in the middle of it.
That's really good. Yeah. Because I'm so solution oriented too. And even hearing you talk, I'm like, I resonate exactly with what you're saying. And so when we see something, we want to fix it instead of just, trying to ignore it or not doing anything about it. So I hear you. I'm loving. I can't wait to hear what Joyce, you're going to take us along the journey. As you're starting in August and you're implementing the changes. We're going to get those real-time exclusive updates from the group first.
You're right. I tried to. Like today, I talked about how the day was. I mean, I did fix my hair and my makeup a little bit, so don't, you know what I mean? This wasn't really a good picture of how I ended the day. And to be honest with you, I was in retention meetings and PLCs all day. So I don't really know how I looked a mess, but it just happens. Like it just happens because today you're just tired. Thank you. Okay, great. So here's another one. Let's think about this. Did you say something? I'm sorry.
I said you look great with your wonderful polo. I need one.
This was a Mother's Day gift.
I love it.
Because I mean, if you're not walking your brand, who are you, right?
Who are you? Who am I?
Who am I? I mean, I am Alve Pro. Well, actually, Alve is my people are like, where's that come from? And you'll make that connection if you get to know me and you get into like where I'm able to divulge into why I created Alve Pro. But Alve is my daughter's middle name, so it's very special to me. So it's not just a random. It's my daughter's middle name, named after my grandma. Okay. All right, so let's think about this. So we talked about like we need to do things. Sometimes you have to put in surveys. You have to take a step back and kind of like observe what's going on. If there's change, you need to make the change. Like we don't have time to waste because if you think about it, it's 1 year and a year is nothing.
Right.
Think about we're all right now like, dang, this year went by fast.
Quick.
Really fast, right? Yeah. We do it every year. At the end of the year, like, man, every year. So we know that it goes by fast. We don't have time to waste. So do the best, do little by little by little. Yeah. And then the summertime is where you can really sit down and say, okay, here's the big picture. But definitely do some things here and there. And it doesn't hurt like to do small stuff, right? They say like do small things often. Do it.
Love it.
Those things. Okay. So what are some of the most effective strategies, though, for fostering a positive school culture? Like, if you're a leader, what are some things? And I know it's not a snack cart, right? That's not the solution.
Please, Joyce. Okay. One thing about
they love snack cards, but that's not it. Okay, we gotta do more than a snack card, right?
And let me tell you this. I love a good snack card. Okay. The Jolly Trolleys, like I love that. But you know, every time I see that, it reminds me of how I have to get on teachers, you know, our newest teachers in the work, have to get on them because all they want to do is decorate that room, decorate that room, decorate that room. I'm like, what's your management looking like though? Because how are we going to teach if that's not together? Let's decorate later. We can do that.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what it reminds me of. I'm like, the teacher who will love to decorate the classroom before anything to principal Jolly Cart pipeline is real strong. Like I'm seeing that, like those were, that's who they were. Those principals were as teachers. But anyways, yeah, like those are great for boosting morale. I love that. I was in another group. We're not going to name the group. Okay. Mm-hmm. But that particular group, there was someone in there and they were like, the teachers aren't appreciating my Jolly chart and my this and my that. And I'm just like, okay. Well. Yeah, because those are great for boosting morale, 100%, you know. Yeah. But at the end of the day, and this is when you talk about what are strategies for shifting the culture, it really comes down to us first having to start with getting what is the root cause, yeah. Right? It's one thing to be like, oh, the culture is not, the culture needs improvement. Okay, let's go one click deeper, please. What exactly does that mean, right? Because I can throw out 10 million different solutions for improving culture, but it depends on really what is the root cause, right? And so that's why, again, when we're starting with that hard piece of data and being able to do that needs assessment thoroughly, then we're able to drill down to, okay, I've been able to find the root cause. From here, we can do solution 1, 2, or 3, which one we want to go with to start off with, right? Because that goes back to what you were saying about those small changes. Mm-hmm. So, for example, we can talk on the teacher retention thing, right? Okay. If we want to use that as an example. So let's say, like, when we're thinking of school culture concerns, right, that are like driving out our new teachers, right? Mm-hmm. It could be, right. If we're getting down to the root cause, like, dang, your new teachers are dipping. They're not even with you for over a year, right? Because they're not feeling that they're getting the right supports that they need in order to be set up for success. We talk a lot about like building that teacher confidence and that self-efficacy and all of that. Well, you know, if we're not investing in them, if we're not coaching and truly developing them, you know, they're not going to feel that they're properly being seen and valued and taken care of. So they're going to go elsewhere, mm-hmm. right? And so that's why my big thing is on, okay, how can we really help those teachers who are in those first beginning novice years of the work? Because we already know we're in a national teacher shortage, y'all. Yeah. That's not going away. It was there before the pandemic, right? People are leaving. The statistics always show that teachers aren't making it to the first 5 years in the work, right? They're leaving before then. And I remember I shared about this recently, actually, in a TikTok video, but I'll share it here. I did an education policy fellowship, and this was like in 2017. And I was looking at the effectiveness of educator prep programs in my wonderful state. So I don't know about Florida, but in Texas, we have over 240. That's a problem. That's too many. You want to know how many of those 240 are actually effective? Not very much, right? Yeah. And so in my research and doing that policy fellowship, I had to look up some particular statistics, and I ended up finding something that blew my mind. And really what led me to school culture work to this day is because I saw a survey, and it was from an organization I believe called Teach Plus. Okay. And they said for teachers who chose to voluntarily leave a school, 40% of them cited school culture as the reason. Another large percentage cited school leadership as the reason they left. And I'm like, okay, school culture is one of the reasons. Who's setting the culture? The leader. That's what I was going to say. We have a problem, and I'm not the only one suffering. I see this is happening elsewhere, right? And that's what ultimately like led me into what I want to do. But again, like in that research thinking about the effectiveness and how we are able to retain our new teachers, we have to improve the development that we're offering them, the supports that we're offering them. So as you know, Joyce, I talk a lot about like how to help with that new teacher retention. Yeah. Because in our national shortage, when we have our vets leaving the work, guess who's stepping in that seat? Not another vet, a brand new baby
another
teacher.
New teacher. Mm-hmm.
So you have to deeply develop, and you need to be able to offer them that supports if you want to retain them. And so when we think about like new teacher retention, if that's like our root cause issue, when we're thinking about our larger school culture, then we need to develop how can we implement sustainable systems that are going to be able to support our new teachers and keep them around, right? Exactly. So one thing that I share about too is like, there was one particular school, this is different from the school where I was dean of culture, but it was another school and it was a middle school campus. They had a little over 1,000 plus students, 80 teachers, which, you know, you were saying y'all had 50, right? So they had 80. And I implemented a year-long new teacher academy, not what the district did. We know, thank you, district, for your new teacher academy, but what are you doing on your campus to help them, right? Yeah. And so I implemented that, and the results showed, right? We were able to retain up to 70% more of those new teachers. Wow. After giving them consistent support that wasn't a heavy lift or another thing that the leadership team had to do, but it was implemented as a school-wide culture system and routine. And we're able to see the success, right? Yeah. So that would be one example of like a strategy if we're thinking of a root cause would be new teacher retention. So what about you?
So I agree with that. I think like you said, if you think outside the district, is like, oh, we provide XYZ, which is fantastic. That's great. That gets the teacher to the district, signs the paper, but then what? Now, we have a program in my district for new teachers or new to the district. It's called Great Beginnings. Okay. And it's fine. Like, it's good. It's great. Right. But it's not, I don't feel like it's valued as much other than like, this is something I have to do. Because it doesn't transfer to the school. Yeah. Right. So like, it's like you go to school and then you learn things, but how much of that did you actually put in place when you got your job? You know what I mean? Like, so yes, that's great, but that doesn't really help with what's going on in my class because it's so like generic. Exactly. And it's designed for everybody. But I need it to be designed for my teachers and my school because schools are not created equally. Nope. And the way that you look at the lens for teachers, new teachers, that's the lens that I look in or through for new assistant principals. Yeah. Because it's ultimately the same exact thing. Yeah. If we do not cultivate the development of new leaders, who's going to be the one creating the culture and the climate of the school? You're just leaving it to someone to figure out off of a Facebook post or something like that. But we need someone, we need people. Yeah. We need people to be able to have things like in my cohort. It's not, people have asked me like, what are we going to talk about? What are the topics? Like, you're going to tell me because I can sit here and say X, Y, Z, but that XYZ doesn't mean that it's for you. So I'm going to look at the cohort to see what are the actual needs that you guys need so that I can support you there. Because to me, that's not the right approach. Nope. Or like new APs or new teachers they're going to trainings, which is fine. Yeah. But that training, this is like the meeting. Like, why are you having me do this meeting? And this doesn't have anything to do with me. I'm a PE teacher. Right. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of idea. Like, it doesn't really, or it's Etch-a-Sketch. That was great. That was fine. But now I took my notes, but guess where my notepad is? Yeah. Like, how much of that is transferring over to where it really needs to be? And that's in my classroom, in my school.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah. That is so good. Joyce, that's literally like a mastermind, y'all.
Right?
Y'all coming in and telling Joyce what you need help with, and she curates the environment for you.
And that's why I feel bad. And I know people are probably like turned off because it's not like like blah, 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 blah. This is what we're doing. But it's like, I don't feel like that's effective because that's part of the reason why I don't believe that the training that I've been provided or people around me have been provided is as effective as it could be. Like if they gave me a job at the district to be like, hey, you're over all of the assistant principals, like that would be fantastic. Okay, let me not say that out loud. Okay. That'd be fantastic because that's the approach that I would take. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Every AP is created equal. Not every school is created equal. We've got to do a better job at really targeting the needs of the people that we serve. And that's the teachers. Those are the children. Like,
yes.
me, I'm on my high horse though, but you know, we're always
one size fits all.
It does not. The budget. Oh, girl, we could talk about the budget. Like,
y'all, let me just tell y'all something. When it comes to budget, because I like to eat up leaders when it comes to their budgets, okay? I can tell what you really prioritize. You can do all this all day, but I can tell what you really prioritize when I dig deep into your budget and I see where you're spending your money. Okay? I'm crying.
Now, don't get me wrong. We love a good Sam's. I don't know what Sam's, if Sam's is in Texas or wherever. Costco, whatever. We love a good Sam's run.
We do.
Because I like to have water bottles and soda and chips. But
listen,
that's not where our money needs to go. Yes, you're right.
The difference between us and those who just do the snack carts is that we can do both. Like we understand that we need the sustainable structures, right? But we also want to add in those climate and morale boosters.
Correct. Okay, so tell me, like, what's something that I'm just off of a whim, like, what's something that somebody could implement tomorrow? Well, like, what
survey that you're dropping in the chat?
I'm going to drop it later. I can't find it and I can't get distracted, but I'm going to find it. I've been looking. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Yep.
That's y'all's action step. When Joyce finds that, or I might find it before she does, and I'm going to repost it. Okay?
My Google Drive is not working right now as fast as I would like for it to, but I'm going to get it.
I'm sure I have it somewhere. I probably commented on the post, so.
No, I couldn't find it. I was thinking it was just a post, but I tried. Anyway.
Seriously though, if we're talking about a high leverage move that you can do and quickly as tomorrow, y'all literally drop that survey, send it to your staff, and collect responses. And guess what? You can even gamify it with your Jolly Charlie. You can say if you are first, second, or third, fill out this survey. A sweet treat is coming your way.
A sweet treat.
There you go.
That's funny. No, but for real though, I think that was I did it at my last school, and when I came into this, when I first met my principal, I was like, hey, I did this. It was really great. Like it gave some good feedback, but not only, and I'm going to tell you how I implemented it, because it's not just the survey, right?
Right.
It is the dialogue that happens after the survey that is so important. You can put the survey out and all it is like they're telling you things, and you may take, like, the thing about surveys is like you read into it what you want to read into it. So if you want to see the negative, that's all you're going to see. But that doesn't mean that it was really supposed to be negative.
Exactly.
So follow-up questions are key. And so what I did after that, I went to my principal. I said, hey, what do you think about us just like meeting with teams, just as a team? So it's not like one-on-one, just a team, and just giving some open feedback or asking for open feedback. It's like, sure, no problem. So I met with every team and I put the survey results up. It was anonymous. Mine was anonymous. I put the survey results up because I wanted them to see what the masses look like. What does it look like as the big picture, what people are saying? And then when there's like outliers or like, it says that mostly negative. It's like, wait, mostly negative? What does that mean?
Yeah.
That's just an example. So what does that mean? Or when they were able to fill in some of the blanks, they were able to comment on some things.
Yes.
And so they could see the comments, and it was just like, I said, you don't have to tell us it was you, but if you have your ear to the ground, like if you know something, tell us so we can get better. Exactly. And we had such great dialogue, and the teachers actually, like, after that were like, thank you so much. We felt heard. We finally felt like you guys were listening. And it was just like, okay, that was easy. It took a day.
Yeah.
It took a day. Exactly. But they felt like we were listening. And then I took the things that we could change right away and already had them implemented when we had that meeting. So like, for instance, they were talking about the structures of our common planning. And majority wanted it to look a little different. And it was like, okay, we can do that. That's easy. And so by the time we had that meeting, when it was brought up, it was like, oh, by the way, guess what? I already got that in place. Next week, you'll be meeting XYZ at this place, and it's going to be great. Yeah. So you take those things that you can implement right away and do it. So
Yes.
that's another thing, right? So not only do you put the survey out, not only do you have the conversations with everyone, but you also follow up.
Ooh, on that note with the follow-up, that is so good.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to share this because even this was something that came to my mind as we were preparing for this conversation tonight. Teachers, they get really sick and tired of y'all asking them to fill out surveys and y'all aren't really showing evidence of anything that you have done as a result of them filling out the survey. So they're going to get real jaded when it comes to you. Oh, fill out this survey so you can check the compliance box. Nope. What you really need to be doing, yes, what Joyce has said, and one thing that I have actually done before is once I get those survey results, I don't care what they look like, good, bad, or indifferent. Transparently share them. Transparently share that data with the school, with your teachers, with your staff. And once you transparently share that data, be like, okay, and here's what we're going to do as a response to that, right? And that's when you can, as I was saying earlier, get that feedback and you are collecting it as well in these conversations like Joyce just told you to have. But you are able to then work in collaboration with them, right? Which is super important.
Yeah.
And they're able to actually see evidence of you listened to me and you did something about it. And I'm able to see. And once you come back together, whether if it's even for that next staff meeting, after, you know, the last one, you transparently shared the data and the action plan moving forward, share with them what the current results, what the progress is looking like.
Right.
As a
That's
result
true.
of you implementing those changes, keep them in the loop. Nothing irritates me more than lack of transparency and poor communication.
That's good.
So please, because that definitely, that's something that really will make your culture toxic.
Yep. That is very good.
Yeah.
So I love that so much. I'm trying to find the survey. I still can't find it, but it's okay. All right. So that's something that you can do tomorrow. Like I'm going to share, like I'm still trying to find it. I found it, but I feel like if I give you this one, it's going to not be able, you're not going to be able to open it because with my district, you can't open it unless you're in the district. So I thought that I moved it over. So I've got to find the one that I moved over, but I can't find it, Lord. Okay. Anyway, so moving on. So have you noticed a difference between pre-pandemic climate or what is needed for us to boost and create a more positive climate than before? Like, was it easier before to create positive climates, or has it become harder now that we've gone through a pandemic? Because I'm sorry, things are very different. People are different. These kids are so different, right?
I can say that I don't feel that it's been like harder.
Okay.
But I can say that the needs are different. When I think about something I know that we chatted about before, like 2 big priority, right, issues when it comes to culture in a like post-pandemic era. Yes, the needs have shifted as far as student behavior. And people can say, again, it's where you see from where you stand, right? So that might, you've been like, oh, that was a problem before the pandemic at my school. Okay, I understand.
That's true.
But it could have been multiplied times 10 now, right? And so student behavior is really one of the common trends that I'm seeing, which of course I'm hearing about all the time. As I shared with y'all, a lot of my work has been prioritizing the needs of the teachers who are on your campus right now, right? And me directly coaching and serving them. And so, yes, seeing big concerns with that, especially if we go even one click deeper with like SEL, right? That has been a true, like a heavy need more than ever before. And then, of course, as stated earlier, that teacher retention issue was there before, it's times 10. So those are 2 issues that we saw beforehand and we really didn't work to address it properly. And now we're kind of suffering the consequences on the back end. So that's what I'm really noticing in general, right? Not even going one click deeper, talking about my own school and different things like that, but like in general, as far as what I've heard from other leaders and teachers.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like that I completely agree with that, because after we came back from the pandemic and we were all back, I'm just like, what's the difference? We've been dealing with this forever. I literally was on the stairs at my school and I was like, can you help me understand, like, as if from a teacher's perspective, what is different? Because we had all of these issues before, but
Yeah.
it's just heightened. Like it's just intensified in
Yep.
a lot of ways. And it's not, and it's school to school to school, because in reality, the school that I left, like they were decent. I get phone calls from my mentee and it's just like, oh my gosh, what happened to these children? But the kids it's just, things are changing. Children are changing. The society is changing. Our parents are changing. We had a parent that I'll say this, came up and like almost attacked the teacher on Friday. I wasn't there, but almost, because allegedly their kid got hurt or got hit by another kid that, like, at the end of the day. And so when they took off, the kid said it, she came back and she was nice and everything until she talked to the teacher, and then it was really bad. And it's just like, where did like common decency come from, where you just sit down and talk and problem solve without getting irate and angry? I have someone right now, the emails are nasty to the teacher, and I'm like, do you really think that the problem's going to be solved if we are saying these nasty things to the person who has your kid majority of the time? Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? So it's like the approach, it's not the way that it used to be, where it would be a lot more collaboration. So when I meet with parents, I try to emphasize that we're in this together. And like, I've been doing a lot of retention meetings, and parents, they're concerned and they're just thinking about their child's mental health and how they're going to feel. And I'm like, it's about your approach. How you approach any situation is going to be how it's going to be, the results, or how results are going to be, right? So if I approach it negatively, if you approach the school negatively, or, oh, I'm leaving this school because I couldn't stand XYZ. Okay.
Right.
You're going to take that energy to your next school. Because the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Not at all.
Or it's like, I'm just so miserable here because XYZ. And it's like, you're always going to be miserable if you keep telling yourself you're miserable. Yeah. So I feel like it takes us as leaders to not only do the snack card, but to listen, to continue to smile, to be approachable, and just be supportive, right? But also, I mean, you could be supportive, approachable, kind, nice, and all of that, and also get the job done.
100%.
And approach is everything. Some of my leadership team, we talk about that, like, the way that I approach situations is drastically different than some other people. And you get a different result. So where the teacher was on guard for one reason, when I speak to them, it's like, oh.
Melts away,
and people need to feel like they're being heard and they're being supported.
Exactly.
So you have to go in, and that's what I teach too, like how to build those relationships and how to keep those relationships without burning bridges or losing trust, because we have to trust one another.
We have to. That is so good. I love that. I love that so much. I was going to say something, and then I forgot.
Do you remember that article that I sent out? I think it was in a newsletter, and I think you might have said something about it, maybe. And it was about behaviors, classroom management, and how it starts with leadership.
Yeah.
What was your thought process? What is your thought process on that in general?
100%. So when I think about this, right, of course, like thinking about my work, one thing is, again, me helping a teacher create the culture in your own classroom, your four walls, right? But what is happening from the school leader standpoint? What are the school-wide systems that you are doing when it comes to behavior? Like you had mentioned earlier, what does that look like in place, right? Are there proper supports in place that help to further add value to what the teacher can do within their locus of control and their four walls?
Yeah.
Of course, it starts from the leadership. And what are you doing as a school leader to set up those proper school-wide behavior systems? What are you doing? I know I've had like some schools literally have not had it established, and I've had the pleasure of working with that individual leader or whatever to build that out, right? Or some schools, what I see is like one big mistake, I will share that with y'all, is that you think that building out a school-wide behavior system comes down to, oh, we use Class Dojo.
True.
No, ma'am. Class Dojo is a way for you to collect data, to communicate with families, and they even have a nice little SEL component as well. But that is not a system. That is one piece. Tracking data is super critical and important, especially when we're talking about championing equity for kids, right? But we need much more than that. Like, what are your school-wide expectations for student behavior? How are you working to reinforce that consistently every day, even if it's something as simple as during your morning announcement, right?
Yeah.
Making it a routine, something that's easy, that's a low lift for you to do, right? And then, like, what are you doing to actually support your teachers when they do have to send little Maria out of your classroom, little Johnny, when they have to send them out to you? Because they have followed their personal classroom, consequence matrix. What then are you doing to offer right supports? Because the teachers are tired. They're tired of them coming back with cupcakes and lollipops.
Yes.
Eating Cheetos in the corner of your office and then being sent back 5 minutes later. That's got to stop.
Correct. I completely agree with that. I mean, I feel like I am so tired of seeing, and it's not like it's the teachers, right? It's just teachers, like kids with chips and lollipops in general, over it. But it's so true, because there's a misconception that it can be, right? When you do that, the perception is that they go to the office and they're not being reprimanded or provided consequences. And they may have done that, but all the teacher's going to see is the lollipop or the chips.
That's it.
So why are we doing that? I have a kid right now, and I said, I was like, man, he really wanted donuts, right? So I'm like, all right, if you behave for XYZ amount of time, I will bring you some donuts. It was not even 2 hours. He was already back in the office.
Oh,
no. I really wanted to give you donuts. No. And he's like, can I have a snack? Absolutely not. No, you cannot have this snack right here. So it's like this. But it is true. Like, that happens so often that we're like, oh, they listened to me and they took that really well. I'm going to give them a lollipop. No.
Yeah.
No, this is not. And I tell them, this is not playtime. I want this. Is this fun? This cannot be fun, because this is not what you want. This isn't what you strive to be. But I think that's important to, that we as leaders set that tone. And it's a matter of setting the tone. And also, if we follow up and follow through on what we're supposed to do, the teachers are going to feel the support.
Exactly.
That's
and then they feel supported, so they feel that they can trust you as a leader and they want to work for you.
Yeah.
They don't want to leave and go find another place to go.
Exactly.
I love this. No more lollies.
No more lollipops. That might have been somebody from my school. And it's so funny. Like, I talk about it so much. I'm like, no eating stuff. Because that was a thing. Like, I saw so many bags of Takis when I first got there, and lollipops.
Love a good Taki.
I know. And I used it as an incentive for one kid too. I bought a whole box. I'm like, if Justin will take these Takis, because he's like, Miss Conley, I'll work for $5. I said, I'm not giving you more money. And he's like, what about some Takis? I got you. I got you some Takis. I will always remember him. I was only there with him for 2 weeks and he left me. But I know. And then the other school called, like, what is up with this kid? I said,
right. I got you. This is what you need to do.
I was like, this is what you need to do. Listen to him. He's gonna be fine. Get him some Takis. He will work for those. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't even remember. But yeah, I don't know what the food is. It's like, it's a lax thing. Like, people, all they do is eat. It's like, that's an incentive in the classroom. I'm gonna give you a lollipop. That's fun. Stop. I'm eating it right now. Like, that's cool. If you have a lollipop jar and if you do something like that, okay, cool. That's your thing. But there has to still be structures in place when it comes to giving the lollipop. It's not all free willy-nilly giving the lollipop, because guess what? All they're worried about now is the lollipop.
Right. That's it.
And now I gotta get on them for eating the lollipop.
And then when you stop giving the lollipops, what you gonna do?
That's what's next.
Because you've helped them to understand, oh, that's what I'm gonna give them. Give my lollipop. Then you stop giving the lollipops.
And why are you giving the lollipops for things that they should be doing, right?
Exactly.
I said, I'm not rewarding you for something you should be doing every single day.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think, like, I don't know. I feel like there's just a disconnect in some of the, and I think it's a lot of classroom management. It's like they think that some people think that is just what we do. And classroom management, I did an interview with a lady, and she was from Puerto Rico, and I spoke to my one of my coaches, and she was like, this Puerto Rico, when you think of classroom management, you don't think of behaviors. It's not like, how do I respond to this negative behavior?
Exactly.
It's literally, how did I set my classroom up from day one so the kids do not misbehave?
That part.
I was like, dang, that's a great way to put it. Because when we're asking that classroom management, what responses are we looking for?
Exactly.
Class dojo. I use XYZ. And we're a whole class dojo school, which is like
I was an ambassador. I love class dojo. I still teach teachers how to do that in my program, Joyce. I am an advocate of the tool being used.
Right, it is a tool
function it was created for. Okay, so yeah, I love
it's just how you use it. Yeah. So then when she was explaining that, because it's funny, because I was like, maybe she didn't understand the question because of the language barrier. So my coach came in and translated, and then she explained, like, just so you guys know, classroom management is not the same, because classroom management in where I'm from, in Puerto Rico, where she's from, it's structures. It's what you do from day one. Because the lady kept saying, well, I refer back to rule 1. I refer back to rule 1.
Love it.
I was like, okay, well, what else do you do? You know,
how many bags of Takis do you give them?
Yeah, how many Takis do you have in your box? So yeah, but no, it's so funny. I'm like, you know what? But that's what we always say. The center of classroom instruction is classroom management. Like, you cannot instruct if you don't have those pieces in place. And if you have those pieces in place, the kids are not going to behave this way.
They're not. They really aren't.
There was a teacher somebody called for a reference. And one thing I could say is, like, she built relationships with those kids and she has great classroom management. But yeah,
I can't.
But I was like, if I could have 100 of her, classroom management would be fantastic, because a lot of times I can coach and we can coach the instructional piece.
Yes.
The classroom management is that withedness, right? Ooh. And you can teach them and stuff like that. But if you don't have like the proper like a person that's sitting there like you, that is helping them through that. Like, I can't teach you that every day. I can't do that because there's so many of you. So unfortunately, just like in my job, your principal cannot sit there and teach you all of the things that you need to be taught as a new assistant principal. Right. Sometimes you've got to go seek it outside elsewhere. Right. Yep, exactly. Right. And that's where you have to find people like us that aren't, we aren't new to it. We're true to it. Like, we've been doing this and we have receipts and we have had the opportunities to go through it, learn from it, and be able to teach people how to do it. So, and don't be afraid to seek that support. So anyway, I think we should wrap this up. What you think?
I love that. I love this conversation. I could go for hours with this conversation.
We always do that. We do this. And I looked back, I saw it popped up when I was trying to look for that climate survey. June 22nd that we talked last time.
Oh, wow. So almost a year.
Almost a year.
That's crazy.
Almost a year. But anyway, so let me see if there's anything else. I guess, like, if you have any questions for Tierraney or myself, drop those in the chat as we start to close up our evening, because this was fantastic. And I am so proud of you and all of the work that you are doing, because it is so needed. And I see it now more than ever. I'm like, gosh, I wish I could get you on my campus. But we'll see how that works. In the future. Right?
Do a little swap.
Something. True. Something, because I feel like we can say it all day, but when you have someone from on the outside looking in, it's kind of like, all right, so, but until then, I'm going to be promoting all of your knowledge through TikTok and your YouTube, etc., and encourage my teachers to watch you and learn from you as well. I know do you still do one-on-one coaching for teachers, or are you just doing your academy? What do you have?
Yeah, so my academy is my flagship program, y'all, the Manage Your Class Academy. That is literally what I do to help teachers build, right, that classroom management foundation from the beginning. So right now we are gearing up for summer. So I'm really excited. I don't know, maybe one of your teachers has enrolled, but y'all, just like Joyce was saying, sometimes you have to seek that support elsewhere. And so I have a lot of teachers from all over who are seeking that classroom management support from me, because unfortunately their school is not providing it. But the same for you as a novice AP, as somebody who just began in your work as a leader, you seek that support elsewhere. And so you enroll in Joyce's program because it's about to kick off. And trust me, you don't want to miss it.
No, you don't. I'm really excited about it. So the people that have joined so far, I'm like, man, this is going to be amazing, because I've been watching, people through the group, and I know that they're wanting the knowledge and the support.
Yes.
So that makes me excited to do the work whenever I have groups like that. But the cohort is, like Tierraney said, it's coming. So we start, I think our kickoff call is June 14th. I'm stopping enrollment on June 9th, most likely. So you want to sign up. You go to alvapro.com. You want to sign up and get in the cohort, because right now is the best time to be in community and to be in collaboration and learn, right?
Yep.
And again, I do have some great experiences. And again, my framework is relationships, response, and resilience. Because when I put out a survey about Joyce, it was, what are your strengths? And I always hear about how I build relationships. And someone's on here, she's always cracking on me. She's like, Joyce, you need to stop building all those relationships, or your phone's not going to stop. That's why you keep getting these phone calls. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm here to help. Like, this is what I do. Okay. I love when people call me and ask me questions, or call to vent. I had an AP. She was like, I think she's in her first couple years, called yesterday just to vent. And I'm like, at Aldi.
Yeah.
Like, girl, like, what? Oh, for real? And then giving a little advice here, a little advice there if she wanted it, but that's part of building relationships. But with parents, I've had all these retention meetings. And today one parent's like, you are so funny, because I think it's, like I said, it's approach. So learning how to really communicate with people and stick with it, because reality is somebody's so funny. You funny. The reality is a lot of people, a lot of leaders, a lot of educators are jumping ship. And
yes,
because they're not being supported. They're not seeking the support, taking the support. It is like, it's out there. We can help you. So that if you're questioning, like as a teacher, or if you know that your school needs some support in systems and routines, there's help. Tierraney's right there. Tierraney.com. Right? If you're an AP and you're struggling, you're either starting and you want to get ahead of the game, because I think that's brilliant. Okay. It's brilliant to go ahead, and you're an aspiring AP. Look, why not learn? Why not get in the room? I always say, get in the room with the people who you want to be. I want to be in the room with the people who are better than me or know more than me, right?
Exactly.
Because if I'm the smartest one in the room, that's not good. Because the smartest person in the room should be the room. That's the collective.
Ooh, that's a word.
That's the collective. Yep. That's the collective.
That is so good.
Because I can learn from you. You can learn from me. We can learn from each other. I have experiences that I will help you and support you and teach you and all of that. But guess what? Joyce don't know everything. We don't know everything. So we have to understand that that's not the approach. The approach is that we're in this together. Okay.
That's why I love that your program is a group.
Yeah.
Because you already know that they're not coming in as empty buckets. They have something that they're doing right that they can share with the larger group. But ultimately, you have been there, done that, and you can help them skip the guesswork so that they can immediately effectively serve their schools as leaders.
Yeah. And be confident, because if you walk into the job and you're not confident, oh my goodness. It's because you have to have confidence, that not that like I'm better than you confidence, or I know everything confidence. It's I'm confident that we'll find out. I'm confident that I can go in here and I can get the job done, and I might have to make a couple phone calls, but that's okay. I'm cool. Like, I'm good, because honestly, some people aren't confident enough to make the call.
Joyce, people think to say something.
Okay, well, say it.
I don't know if I should say it, but so just like you were saying, some people are confident enough to make the call. Some people are confident enough to get support without posting anonymously in a Facebook group.
I know. That breaks my heart so much, because I've worked so hard to and some of the things are like, you didn't have to do that. It's okay. I swear, I promise.
Right. It's
but
okay.
It's so sad, but that's the thing. That's that fear. And I hate that about our jobs, because we are so afraid that we'll lose our job, or we'll look silly, or we'll look incompetent. Yeah. And that's not it. Like that, we have to get out of that mindset, because there's nobody knows everything. Even the most experienced AP, I've helped. Yeah. The novice, the experienced, I've helped them, or they've helped me. Like there's things I don't know. It's so funny. In my group chat, they're like, Joyce, we're usually used to you giving us the information. I'm like, yeah, but guess what? This is a whole new school, a whole new ball game, y'all. I got questions.
Yes. So I dropped that in the chat.
Have you been through this? Because I've never been through that before.
Right. No, that's totally true. And I think about one particular district that I was in. They had a very good program, like a pipeline program and a true development program for those who were like aspiring APs, because I know we had one of those here tonight. And then also for those who were just starting out in the work. And then for those who wanted to push on to the principalship, but that's not everywhere. And that's why it's so good that like there's programs like yours that exist. But thanks for popping my newsletter, y'all. It's totally every Sunday I drop a little gem and some Jolly Trolley type stuff in there too.
Exactly, because honestly, those are always nice to have in your back pocket, so that when you get that Sam's card or you get that credit card, you can put the Sam's invoice on it. Then hey, go ahead and get the soda, the chips, and the cookies. Because even though people will say, "Oh, like, oh my gosh, you can't buy people with snacks." Look, there's been a saying since we have been children, and probably way beyond that. It's if you feed them, they will
come.
Exactly. Right. Because I will not lie. That substitute list on Frontline, I don't know what you use, but
Frontline.
Very, 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 very thin last week in Teacher Appreciation Week. Okay. I was like, everybody's coming to work this week, but that's because they want to feel, they want that. Like teachers want to have fun. They want to feel appreciated. They want the snacks. So
they do.
Anyway, so just like Tierraney has her newsletter, I have mine, but I don't do weekly. Like, I don't know how you do that, girl, but I do.
First brings that fire.
Yes, I know. I do bi-weekly, and I'm proud of that. So bi-weekly, go to avepro.com and get on the newsletter, because I try to drop some gems too. We're here for you. We're here to support you. Join the cohort, avepro.com. Get on the cohort. Get in the cohort, because it's for you. So no matter where you are in your leadership, hey, you never know. But definitely if you're aspiring and you're in your first 3 years, please join me. Get the support. Like, this is the lowest price it's ever going to ever be. I will tell you that.
Seriously, y'all.
And if you don't know if that's what you want, like, we can talk, we can chat. Look, I'm here to help you. Okay. So what you need, I'm here to serve. All right. Yay. I think that's it. My daughter said hamburgers are ready, so I'm about to go.
Ooh, yum, yum.
I know it's good to have a 17-year-old. She's babysitting or watching the 4-year-old and also cooking. So
love it.
Mommy can do this. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. Thank you for joining us. If you're on the replay, #replay, tell me what you think. I appreciate all of you for being here. Thank you, Tierraney, and you have a great night, everyone. Take care.
See y'all.